Hey Nathan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Bill?
I'm so excited to talk to you today, specifically around trusted house sitters. I've heard all about this. I checked out the website, but I've never actually talked to someone who's done it. So I'm so excited to hear about all your adventures. You've been doing this for a while now, yeah?
Yeah, just over a year. Took a little shot at it a couple of years ago and really been doing a lot of house sits in the last year or so.
So for people who don't know what trusted house sitters are, let's start there. What is trusted house sitters?
So I am a trusted house sitter. So people all over the world who are traveling want someone to come take care of their home, take care of their pets. Uh, yeah, just having that peace of mind, but also not wanting to spend a lot of money on that. I know when I had a dog, we were spending $50 a day to have a pet sitter when we were traveling. So obviously, they save quite a bit of money by having a house sitter there that is volunteering to come for free.
That's beautiful.
Um, yeah, people have asked for house sitters from anywhere for a couple of days to a year or so. It just depends on what their travel plans are and the type of house sitter that they're looking for. So yeah, you'll find people who are asking you to take care of full farms, take care of their chickens, their horses, their goats, as well as just a person here or there that just wants you to take care of one cat or one dog, and everything in between. So I have one coming up actually where there are no pets. They just want to make sure that their property is well maintained. It's a big bird watching part of the country, and they want to make sure their bird feeders continue to be filled and lawn maintenance. It's just, yeah, all kinds of different opportunities depending on what you're looking for.
That's really cool. So I'm traveling around the world in different parts of the world, and I'm wondering, is this pretty accessible to most countries? Is this something that's up and running specifically in specific countries or pretty much everywhere?
So it's available everywhere, but currently I'm not seeing too many house sits in certain parts of the world. So in Europe, there's a lot of different opportunities. Australia and Canada, America, so many opportunities. You'll find some in Mexico and South America, not near as many. And yeah, I'm sure if you're looking for shorter stays, you'll find it in different parts of the world. For me, I usually look for longer stays, 3.5 weeks to 3 to 4 months,
Yeah.
just to make those trips worth it for me. But yeah, everywhere in the world is able to have those. It's just dependent on if people have gotten into it in those smaller parts of the world.
So I've not done this before. So once you actually go
Mhm.
through the vetting process, actually maybe we'll start there. So you say,
Yeah.
okay, I want to be a trusted house sitter. What's the process?
Yeah. So you sign up on the website, it's just trustedhousesitters.com, and you fill out your profile basically. You have to get your verification check. So I had to upload my passport. They do a background check on you, make sure you are a trusted person.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you put together your profile. Why are you house sitting? Uh, what motivated it? For me, I lost my dog at the beginning of last year. I
Mm,
really wanted, like, almost impulsively went and picked up another dog from the shelter the next day. But
yeah.
I also thought that this was a time in my life where I finally had the freedom to travel. So for me, great reason to get out there. I've only house sat dogs, and chickens and goats and geese, but I'm not so much a cat person. I don't want to deal with the litter box, so I don't search in those directions. Um, so yeah, you fill out your profile, you do the background check, the ID me verification, where use your passport, you take a selfie with your passport and
Yeah.
make sure you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
And then ideally you'd go get a few references. So you'd have your friends or people who you've house sat before or know your history around pets that would come in and just give you that reference. Like, Nathan's a good guy. If you want to contact me for more information, come back and do so. I already had four people who I've house sat for, one coworker and one of her friends, and then just a couple of friends. So it was easy enough for me to get those references. And then after each house sit, they leave you a review. And I think
Right.
there's five different categories that they can give you anywhere from 1 to 5 stars. And that really starts building up your profile. So it really depends on what you're looking for. I know some people do appreciate having lots more reviews. And a lot of people, when they get started, they'll go do shorter, easier house sits to start accumulating those reviews. My strategy was a little different. I really like the rural sits
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere where I can have that peace, and I like those longer ones. So for me, I was able to get right in there on my first house sit from just my references. And now I have enough reviews where I'm able to get into most house sits that I want.
That's beautiful. So now tell me about the membership. So as a trusted house sitter, how does that work?
So I believe there's three levels of membership. I am on the middle tier.
Yeah.
The premium tier comes with a few perks where they'll insure you in a way if you are canceled on once you're already in the city that you're going to house sit for. And they'll add like lounge passes for airports, little things like that. So if you don't already have lounge access, that might be a benefit. But for me, I wasn't too worried about those two things. And for those longer sits, the $50 or $35 a day they'd give you for accommodation, they max out at 7 days. So it wasn't worth that extra price point for me when I got started. But yeah, it's about $125 a year to
Mhm.
be a trusted house sitter. I think the higher tier might be 175.
So very
I'm
reasonable.
not positive.
Yeah, very
Yeah, yeah,
reasonable.
yeah, not bad at all. It's, a night in a hotel.
Well, I was gonna say in New York City, like that's not even a night in a hotel. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
depending on
yeah.
where you are in the world, right? That's really great.
Hmm.
So very reasonable, very economical to become a member. Awesome. You go through the vetting process, you get the reviews. Now you say, okay, great. I know. So for Violet and I, we have all 52 locations mapped out. We know when we want to be where. And now we're actually at the perfect time. This is exactly where we're starting to book up all the different places that we're staying. So, for example, I
Hmm.
know that I'm going to spend 3 weeks in Vietnam. So, like, assuming that I have like the time to be able to spend at a house. Now, what I'm doing is I'm seeing are there anybody who has a actual location in Vietnam during the time that I want to stay that would be what interested in having me house sit for them. Is that like what I'm doing now? Just sort of like a matching profile?
Exactly. And there's filters, so you can really get your search to exactly what you want. If you want it in a certain area, certain continent, you can really tailor those searches all the way down to amenities. So for me, I do those longer sits. So a lot of times I will do a search that says they're willing to let me use their car, like a car is included in the sit.
Cool.
Um, I haven't ran into that certain issue at all, but yeah, you can really narrow it down. So you would be able to go in and just search Vietnam, put the amount of days that you're wanting to house sit, anywhere from 1 day to 3 weeks, and you could do those date ranges and find exactly what's there. And you can actually look for those sits before you even become a member. If you just go to the website, you can click find a house sit,
Yeah.
which is what I did. I knew I wanted to join the site. I wasn't sure where I wanted to go. And then once I saw a sit I wanted to apply for, that's when I became a member.
Perfect.
Uh, and yeah, applied for that sit immediately while I was still getting those initial references in.
That's great. Yeah, because I'm looking at places like New Zealand where we're going to be there for a month and we don't have any particular plans. We know we want to travel around New Zealand, but like if we can look at a place that allows us to stay there for a couple days to a week or maybe 2 weeks, whatever that is, we can adjust our plans as we go. So we have flexibility, especially on the later part of the trip. And it sounds like that's great. I can sort of see what's available and then build our journey in country based on sort of what the available options are at that time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And New Zealand's going to have a lot of sits. I know Australia and New Zealand have quite a few. I had one in Tasmania in our summer, but Tasmania's winter last year.
Yeah.
And that too, it was just an easy trip. I had never been to Australia. I wanted to check it out, and I was in Indonesia. It was a shorter flight. So having a month in Tasmania gave me a week in Australia on both sides of that stay
Sounds
before I came back to our side of the world.
before I just want to ask, is there anything else about trusted house sitters that I haven't asked you about that would be good for us to know as we're sort of going into this new venture for ourselves?
Yeah, I would say when you're applying for, well, you do apply for a house sit. So anytime a person posts their listing, they'll draw out what they're looking for, your responsibilities while you're there. But I would say really interview those people back
Mhm.
uh, because certain hosts can make your stay much easier or much more difficult. So definitely make sure you're finding that perfect fit of not only where you're wanting to go, but making sure that you're comfortable with the responsibilities and how much time that house sit might take on a daily basis, and that you're comfortable with the owners of the pets in the house.
Give me an example of that. What's an easy
Oh, I
fit?
think I lost your audio, Bill.
No, no, I can hear you just fine. Did you
Oh,
lose
I
it?
can't hear you.
Oh no. I'm seeing that my microphone's bouncing.
There you. Oh,
Yeah. Is this an internet delay?
oh, it says my connection's unstable.
That's okay.
But
I'm
yep,
yeah, that's fine.
internet delay.
So
And
I
that's one thing when you're traveling the world, sometimes you can't control the perfect internet connection. So
yeah,
haven't had an issue yet in Prague, but we just found one.
there we are. But it's a temporary blip. It's no problem. So what I was going to ask you is specifically around the like an easy sit and what's a hard sit. Can you give me a contrast? Like, can you tell me something that would be concerned? Like, if even if you haven't done one, what would you be concerned about that would be more of a difficult house sit versus an easy sit?
Yeah, so I just wrapped up one on Vancouver Island that I would say was a difficult house sit,
Mhm.
but worth it. And it's what you're looking for too.
Sure.
I went into that house sit knowing I was going to be walking 2 to 4 hours a day through the mountains in the winter.
Wow.
And for me, I was
You're up
ready
for
to
it.
have a more secluded place. It was a beautiful place that was oceanside.
Yeah.
Uh, in a beautiful part of the country. So I was ready for it, but it was a lot. That was a 2.5 month house sit where I was walking over 5 miles a day
Wow.
every day, and you don't get the days off. And I was snowed in for 4 weeks and I lost heat for 10 days. So that
Woo!
was a difficult sit because very time consuming, especially in the winter when there's only 10 and a half to 12 hours of daylight in a day and you're trying to walk for 3 hours a day and then chop firewood, get it into the house. Uh,
Wow.
that was a more difficult sit. So that's what I say. Make sure you know what responsibilities and the time that you're going to have available because for me, I knew I was just going to settle in. I knew it was a really remote area where I was 20 minutes from the closest town. So I was excited because as a nomad, like currently in Europe, I'm eating out for nearly every meal.
Yeah.
But when I go to the house sit for me, it's like I finally get that sense of home where I can cook, I can be healthy, I can exercise. And I knew I was going to be moving every day. And it was great. I lost like 10 pounds in
Amazing.
Canada.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And the walks really prepared me when I got to Paris. You're taking over 15,000 steps a day, which probably would have exhausted me. But I was doing that for 2.5 months in Canada. So
Well,
definitely know what you're getting into.
and I would imagine though, even though you're saying you typically stay away from cats, I would imagine a cat house sit is a much easier sit because if you don't mind cleaning the litter box, basically
Yep.
cats are pretty self-contained, So
Yeah, exactly. I've considered it, but for some reason, walking 5 miles a day for me is more with a dog. I would rather do that than change a litter box every day. So it's what you're comfortable with. If
got
you're
it.
a cat person, you're going to love it. And it's likely going to be much easier than if you're a dog person. But I love being outside. I've had dogs my entire life until January of last year.
I'm
So
sorry.
I want to have that dog in my life. And I love that little opportunity for me to and you really get a bond on those longer sits. So I love that.
I love that. So if I want to switch gears here because I love all the things you've shared with me about trusted house sitters, and now I'm really curious about your adventure overall because this is the first time that both Violet and I have spent a full year traveling around the world. And so essentially you've done what we're about to do. And so I'm curious about sort of how has it been traveling around the world and being a nomad for about a year or more? Tell me about what that experience been like.
Yeah, a big learning experience and a lot of self-discovery and growth along the way. Uh, yeah, I've I've been loving it, and you learn a lot. When I first started, you're really nervous, and a lot of people try to scare you away. Are you sure you want to get rid of everything?
Oh,
When
I've
I
heard
sold
that.
my car, and yeah,
Really?
and as long as you're doing what makes you happy
Yeah.
and it's something that you're not ashamed of and proud of, you're doing the right thing, regardless of people pushing that extra fear on you. So I am really glad that I did it. And the experience has been Yeah, really eye-opening. When I first started, I thought I needed so many things. And so I overpacked. I had my luggage at the max weight. I have one checked bag, one carry-on, and my backpack. And my backpack carries my work stuff. And it's really changed. Found myself leaving things almost everywhere I go, donating to whatever clothing charity uh, along the way. But yeah, you really learn a lot traveling the world. And it's really fun to meet people all over the world. When I'm not doing house sits, I'm bouncing around much quicker to more places. And that was also a learning experience. When I first started, I went to Croatia for 6 weeks and then to Greece for a month. And then I house sat in Hawaii for a month. Uh, but then I was ready to explore more. So
Yeah.
over time, I've learned more what works for me. When I settle, then I get a little antsy. So I've been doing a house sit and then I do 2 to 3 months of going and exploring the world wherever I want to go in nice Airbnbs or nicer Airbnbs, I guess, and then back to house sitting. And that's really helped too. I have house sat for 5 of the last 6.5 months before I came to Europe,
Wow.
and not having rent or car payment or car insurance, like I am able to save so much while I'm doing that, which allows me so much more freedom when I'm out here in Europe. Like maybe I'm spending 50% more than I would have in a month before, but I am saving almost all my income when I'm
Yeah.
house sitting.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, no, it's so a couple things there. Both Violet and I decided that we're going to use a single backpack for our luggage. In fact, hang on one second. I want to show you real quick.
All right.
This is it. This is so
Oh, yeah, the code epoxy, right?
Yes, exactly. So you know it. So I love the brand because they are they are a all recycling. So everything that they've made is from recycled materials. It's a 44-liter bag. So basically, it can hold up to 44 liters of stuff. And what I love
Mhm.
about that is I found that when you have a space, you tend to fill it. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to actually constrict. So I didn't get the smallest bag, but I also didn't get the largest bag. And what that does is it gives both Violet and I like, okay, what do you really need to hold on to as you're traveling around the world? So medicines, how many changes of clothes? Like, it doesn't have to be like we're not going down a fashion walk show. So it's like, what are the things that are practical that are going to give us what we actually need to go and show up in the different environments we want to be in? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm in a very similar boat now in Europe. I have the Topo Global Traveler rolling suitcase,
Yeah.
which, if you don't have a backpack, I feel like it's the best one to get. It fits on all European airlines. It has huge wheels, which I have only been moving around in cobblestone streets for the last month.
Yes.
So a huge checked bag would have been rough. And yeah, with the clothes, that's part of the learning experience. When I first started, it was s- multiple sweatpants, multiple sweatshirts. And yeah, it's really changed. I have three merino wool t-shirts. I have a merino wool sweatshirt. My pants have changed. I now have a couple of the Eddie Bauer, like some Eddie Bauer pants that, they're moisture
Moisture.
wickening. They're okay. Yeah, you're okay if it's raining outside. They also have like a smell guard or some
Oh, I love
technology.
that.
So if you have to wear your pants like 4 or 5 times in a row, you're still good. They still look clean because they're not just khakis. If they get wet, you just use a wet cloth and or not wet, but if they get
Yeah.
stained, it just wipes away. So yeah, a lot more strategic. I even have shoes now, like they're hiking shoes, but they're stylish enough. They're brown, they go with everything. I've been wearing them to the ballet. I wear them around town. It's my one pair of shoes. I can go hiking if I want. They're also my whole wardrobe has basically turned into waterproof, and bringing a nice rain jacket with me, and it keeps you from,
I
yeah, getting
love that.
stuck anywhere, stuck inside.
If you have any particular pro tips of articles of clothing that have become your go-tos, I would love that as a follow-up because I'll post that as well. And the reason I'm sharing that is because we're right in that moment. It's like these are the final details. So we're 76 days away from starting to try our travel around the world. So it's all sort of coming down to like the last pieces of the puzzle that we're putting together. The good news is, even though everything isn't completely sorted, like we're doing a full year. So we're like have the arc. We know the flights we're going on. We know sort of the basic places we're going. Some of the places when we get there, we're not exactly sure where we'll be staying and things like that. So we're still sorting that part out. But we have enough of the first month or two that we know exactly what we're doing for that. So we have enough to begin, so we can sort of keep building the road as we're traveling down it. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really
Yeah. I definitely have a do you want me to recommend now what I
yes,
use?
please, I do.
Yeah.
Start with your
So
shoes.
yeah, my
What were the shoes that you were just recommending?
Yeah, so I have the Hoka Anacapa.
Okay.
So I used to be a barefoot shoe guy, but standing in barefoot shoes kind of takes a toll on your lower back.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I switched to these. They have much more cushion. They allow me to, go to the Louvre for 12 hours
Yeah.
and stand around and feel more comfortable, but they also have the Vibram soles. So if you want to go hiking, you can. They have a Gore-Tex lining, so if they get wet, they dry quickly, your feet stay
Love it.
nice and dry. Socks. Oh, I told you everything's been upgraded, but my wardrobe went from a closet and a dresser down to
A
a
backpack.
carry-on bag. Yeah, so socks the same. I've really merino wool a lot of things. So I have the Bombas merino wool socks. I have one pair of wool ones. So when I'm inside, your feet get cold, I can slip those on. I have one pair of compression, which is nice when you have longer days and then you just want to jump in an airplane. And then I have three pairs of merino wool ankle socks. I'm
Just
sure the Gen
pause,
Alpha will judge me on that.
pause there for 1 second. What's with merino wool? What specifically is cool about merino wool?
Yeah, so merino wool is bacteria resistant. It doesn't keep a smell. If you take off your t-shirt and you hang it up and just let the air go through it, it looks like it's brand new. It can be washed whether you have a washer dryer or not. So if I want to just get it wet in the sink and really soak it, take care of it, hang it up to dry, it's nice because I can use it everywhere. It's not going to hold a smell. They always look brand new. I've been wearing the same three t-shirts for over a year now, and they still look so much better than, a cotton shirt that
And each
I'd
one of
wear
these
for
are each one of these t-shirts are merino wool. You're using merino wool in your t-shirt.
yes.
Great. Wow.
Yeah, so my t-shirts and my hoodie, they're Wool and Prints is the brand. And I did a lot of research a while back too. There's a guy who wore the same t-shirt for 365 days straight, which sold me on it.
That's
Uh,
it. That's it. That's what I want. I mean, I'm serious. I've told Violet, I
yeah.
said, we are going to selectively look at items of clothing that you can wear repetitively so you don't have to think about it. I don't want us to have to worry about hey, like we will do laundry as the opportunities arise. It's totally fine.
Mhm.
We've made it so that there's like a 10-day, every 10 days we're gonna have a down day, no matter what we're doing, no matter where
Yeah.
we are. So that there's like we always know there's a day that we have nothing planned and we're just gonna chill out, and that's the day we'll do our laundry. That's the day we'll just do something just to just relax, and who cares? But that way we're not like go go go. We're gonna do the Louvre all day and then try and come back and try to do the laundry. Like that's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So it's great.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So merino wool, like I said, my t-shirts and this hoodie, they're all from Wool and Prints.
Yeah.
And it's just so nice. You can wear the same hoodie for a month and it never picks up a smell. Uh, for my pants, yes, Eddie Bauer Guide Pro, I believe, is the type of pants that I use. So they're also more outdoorsy pants that they're made for hiking and long treks, but I have a dark green pair and a khaki pair. They look pretty good. I feel comfortable wearing those out to an opera,
Love it.
wearing them to a ballet, wearing them on a hike wherever I need to. So I have two pairs of those pants. Uh, and then what else? Yeah, socks. Did I already say that? I have the Bombas merino wool.
Perfect.
And yeah, then I
Is
bring a nice rain jacket. So I have the Patagonia rain jacket, which really helps with layers too. When I started, I took more sweatshirts. I had a big fluffy coat. But now a sweatshirt under a rain jacket that's fully zipped up and you start moving a little bit, it's pretty good. I don't feel like I need a winter coat at
and
this point unless I went into heavy snow.
is what you're wearing right now the sweatshirt you're referring to, like the hoodie sweatshirt you're talking
Mhm.
about? Great. So
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a thick sweatshirt. It's a relatively thin sweatshirt.
It is a thin sweatshirt, so it gets a little bit cold sometimes, but yeah, throwing on the rain jacket over the top of it, I feel very comfortable. And it depends on the city. You always have the ability to buy or leave behind
Oh,
wherever you go. So
yeah.
I was in Amsterdam while back, a few weeks back, and it was cold. I was cold with this on, so I just stopped through a store. I picked up a thicker fleece hoodie, and it became my go-to for a couple of weeks. And now that I'm in Prague, the weather's in the mid 60s and above, and it's getting left behind. This will be
Yeah.
its last stop.
Well, and
Yeah.
I told Violet that's one of the things that we like. Part of our adventure travel is just that. Like we're gonna look at like places. Like I said, like one of the things I'm curious about is what secondhand stores look like in other parts of the world. And the same thing. It's like I'll pick something up and then I'll give it back. Like literally,
Yeah.
I'll rent my clothes if I need something specific that I only know that in this particular week we'll need it there. Then we'll just get it and we'll give it back and we'll be done and that's it. So like our world becomes our closet as opposed to like having to hold on to everything and just like scarcity wise, like no abundance. It's all there. It's all available. Take
Yeah.
what you need. Let it go when you don't need it. Just keep going. Live off the land. That sounds like the dream come true.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you go to places that are warm, you can pick up a Lenin shirt or whatever they have in that area. And almost everywhere you go, it's cheaper than America. So makes you feel better about having to pick something up along the way. And you get those little gifts dropped in from the universe. When I was in Hawaii, I was house sitting and they lent me their Patagonia rain jacket, and I loved it. I wanted it so bad, but I didn't really need a rain jacket for another 8 months. And then when I was in Canada, it said it was going to rain for 13 days straight. I went to a sporting goods store. That jacket was there. It turns out that they only had one in my size and one color. It was an old season. So I got it in America, it would have been $350, but it was listed at 350 Canadian and it was on sale. So I ended up paying 150 Canadian for this jacket that I would have paid
Amazing.
100 or 370, some very expensive in America. So yeah, you get those little gifts that this was the right time and this is the right choice, and yeah,
I love
all of
that.
those little signs. Yeah.
What has been the most surprising part about your world travel so far?
Oh, the most surprising part, I think one of the things that I've enjoyed the most, that you always hear that people are all the same everywhere that you go, and I don't know if it's been surprising, but it's so true. I love like getting to talk to locals. If a local strikes up a conversation with me, I'm always just going to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Even if they catch me right before I go in the door to my apartment, I'll stand out. I did this a couple weeks ago, just stood on the stoop of my apartment and chatted for an hour and a half.
Wow.
And yeah, people are always very open. I am too,
Yeah.
which I think helps people open up a little. But yeah, everybody seems to be the same. They have the same struggles and love and experiences and the same like traumas, not exactly the same traumas, but the same feelings about how they were raised, the same feelings about where they live. And it's just really interesting, especially coming from a really small town in Nebraska where no one travels and there's a lot of fear going on. Like anywhere you go, are you sure?
Yeah.
Uh, just to see that, we might look different and come from a different area, but we're all just one human race experiencing very similar lives, just with different names, and I've really loved that. I think, yeah, surprising maybe is how friendly people are.
Mhm.
Uh, I haven't had a bad experience anywhere I went. I was a little worried when I went to Berlin, some places where you just hear people are, but no, I haven't had any bad experiences. Everybody's been so kind. I think when you go into the I need help with just empathy and kindness, people will do that. And if you ask someone, if you just sit there and hope someone's going to help you, they're not. They're going to ignore you.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just starting that conversation. And yeah, I think that's been surprising. Just everywhere you go, people are so kind. And if you put in a little effort, like
Yeah.
if you just learn how to say thank you or hello, or I'm trying to learn your language, they'll welcome you with open arms. And I've loved that.
I've found the same to be true. Like, the in my previous travel experiences, I always find it funny because some people will say, well, watch out for this group or watch out for this neighborhood or whatever. And it's never the problem. You go there and it's just
Hmm.
Great. You know, one of the things like when I go to Ireland, our first stop, we're going to Dublin, Ireland, and a coach friend lives in Northern Ireland, and I've never been to Northern Ireland, so I'm like, I'm excited to see it. And some of my friends are like, oh my God, Northern Ireland. I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. Like, first of all, this has been a whole arc of like all the things that the country has gone through. It's like, you know, you like this is a rebuilding period where they're changing all their structures and their people, and the people have always been amazing and always been nice, but the problem is, it's an us them relationship. And anytime someone
Yeah,
gets othered, you know, of course, it's like, well, you can't trust those guys. That's an othering, right? It's not real. And it's like, they're just like you said, they're just human beings having a human experience, and everyone's doing the best they can. So I'm
yeah,
excited to go to Northern Ireland. I'm excited to go see like all these families that are in these different places that, you know, for so many of Europeans and even Americans, it's been forbidden. Like, you can't go there. That's not safe. You shouldn't do it. And now it's like I feel like it's no, I want to be able to have Violet see all the different places all over the world, what these experiences are, bring it back and actually have her have that experience for herself, just like you're having. Like, you know, it
yeah,
doesn't matter what other people say. What was your experience? How did you enjoy going to Northern Ireland? How did you enjoy going to this part of the world? You know, and just have her be able to say it for herself. Like, well, I like this better than
yeah.
great, fantastic, you know? So it's all
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think the more you do it, the fear almost completely dissipates. I know when I started traveling out, there were places that even I was feeling reservations about, and now, I mean, I would go anywhere. I think it's yeah. Um, yeah. And then what the other great thing that I've loved about being a nomad is that flexibility. So not always knowing where you go leads to great opportunities. So when I was on Vancouver Island, I just didn't want to take the ferry back to Vancouver and spend a night at an Airbnb before I jumped on an airplane. And I didn't know where I was going yet. So I just Googled what planes are flying out of Nanaimo, this little airport on Vancouver Island. And there just happened to be a plane to Paris that was $198 from Nanaimo. And I would have paid 40 for the ferry and 100 for the Airbnb just to, and maybe another 40 on Ubers to get to
yep,
the airport.
yep.
So yeah, I didn't know I was going to Paris, but I
There we
did, and
are.
it's my favorite place I've ever been now. Which really sparked another a travel around Europe, and I've never taken trains before, and I get to experience all that just because I had flexibility to jump on that one plane to Paris.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, no, and that's part of the whole experience that I'm taking Violet through is Eurail Pass. You know, but it was part of some of my
Yep.
most fun adventures when I first started traveling. I landed in Rome and I backpacked my way to London. And so I just and I all I had were those two destinations for sure. Those were locked down. And of
Hmm.
course I was going to go to Paris. There were other places like you've heard about it all your life, you're going to check them out. But like I didn't have a route. I was just like, okay, I'm
Yep.
south and I'm going to go north and that's it. So what
Yeah.
the greatest thing was I was never alone. I went by myself and I was never alone. From the plane ride in New York going to Rome, I met a friend and we started hanging out and having a good time on the plane, to like a couple that were trying to find a hostel that turned out to be closed. And so the three of us ended up
Yeah.
rooming at that same place that night, which is awesome. And then to just like, you know, oh, we're going to go to Nice. What's Nice? Oh, the French Riviera. Oh, that sounds cool. Let's try that out. So like that constant, like just go where you feel pulled toward is such a
Yeah.
and like you said, it's always new and fun experiences, and there's no such thing as a bad experience, right? It's just an experience, and you get to enjoy it, and you get to see how different people live, and you try things on, and you just have a really, really amazing experience. So I'm so excited for this. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Eurail pass is amazing. I sprung for the first class, the 10 rides over 2 months, and it's so easy. You don't have to go through security. You don't have to show up 2 hours early. You don't have to check or wait for a bag. You just walk right onto the train. You don't have to buckle up. It's
Great.
all has Wi-Fi. I'm most productive on the trains,
Yeah.
and yeah, it allows so much freedom. That was for me. I've always wanted to go to Venice. It's been a life goal. So I'm like, oh, cheap flight to Paris, Eurail pass. I'll just make some stops along the way, and
Totally.
then the same thing. I have to go back west for a house sit on June 10th, and I'd like to see my sister and niece and nephew who I
Nice.
haven't seen for since right before Thanksgiving, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and once again, like, what's the cheapest flight to Tampa? And it just happened to be Milan. So I'm gonna make my way to Venice, then I'll do a food tour. I'm going to Bologna and Naples and Florence, and then end up in Milan and take the cheapest flight back to Tampa.
Amazing. It's so fun. So fun. Well, Nathan, I sincerely appreciate you taking all the time you did today to sort of help me share your experience with me and your best pro tips because again, you're doing what I'm excited to be doing soon. And to be able to hear from you like what's working for you, what are some of the changes you've made, what are some of the insights you have that you're passing on, and even just trusted house sitters. I'm excited to be able to check all this stuff out, try it on for myself. And who knows, like I imagine at the end of this year, Violet's going to go off to college, but then, Elena and I are like, okay, what do you want to do next? And it sounds like I could
Yeah.
keep this going. I could get like, hey, let's go, let's keep checking out the world. Or what are the places we didn't go to that we would still like to check out and have some fun and do all that kind of fun stuff too. So who knows where this is going to end, but I know where it's beginning.
Yeah.
I'm super excited where I get to start. Yeah.
I love it. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to hear about all the travels. And yeah, even once you are done with this trip, it's the options on trusted house sitters are all over the place. So you're looking for what city you're going to be in, but I look for how comfortable am I going to be there? Is the dog going to fit my personality? So, I've done 3 months now in different places that are on an ocean and, walking the dog along the ocean every morning. Like I have to get out at 6:30 in the morning, but it's
So
an
what?
out like that's so good for your mental health to start your day with an hour-long walk on the beach.
With a dog.
Yeah,
Because a
yeah.
little
So
dog.
whatever you're looking for, it's usually available,
I love that.
uh, and yeah, I think we have a huge advantage because we're well put together professionals. We're not trying to figure out life; we're just trying to enjoy it. And uh, because of that, I mean, I get every house that I pretty much wanted, and I'm sure you will too. It's people are happy to have responsible people and to know you're going to work a little bit at a house. They're pumped because I'm spending all my time with their dogs.
I love it. I love it. So Nathan, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate all your time today. This has been fantastic, and I can't tell you how grateful I am just to really hear your experiences, all the different insights, all the pro tips, and I'm sure I'll be able to pass this on to others who are interested in doing exactly what you and I are doing. So it's so fun. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I loved it. I appreciate you too, Bill. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.